Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to WOR Console Tier 2. We are here tonight for round number 2 of the championship as we take in the Austrian Grand Prix from the Red Bull Ring. My name is James Head. I'm going to be taking to the stream for the second week in a row. Mr. Ace, the Northern Irishman, is once again not available, but joining me in the commentary box, McLaren's biggest fan, 2.0, it is Mr. Max Ring. Max, how you doing?
I'm very good, James. Pleasure to be back, and pleasure for you to be stepping in again this season. And hopefully, as you said, it's Austria this evening. We have a really good race. And knowing these drivers and how it was in Australia last time, this race will certainly be something to look out for.
If it's anything to go by from Monday night in PSGL PSF1, definitely going to be a race to watch out for. That is an absolute guarantee. Let's have a look, though, at the championship standings coming into tonight, both for drivers and constructors. Spicer, of course, taking the win. I thought he DNF'd. I think I said on commentary on Wednesday, I think he DNF'd in that race, but he did win. Lars Kramer second, Flo there in third. Of course, Finn Bob did have his penalty put down into 11th position in the end as a result. But Flo finished in third. It was a really competitive top three in the end. Fraser fourth, then Epic Valen fifth, and you can see by the points, 25 for Spicer, 18 for Lars Kramer, then Flo in third on 15, Fraser in fourth on 12, Epic Vale in fifth on 10 points. He's been signed to NLR, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Daddlepad in sixth for on 8 points, FRT Owen on 6, Bobbitt's there on 4, Predestinato on 2, and then Techbook still there on 1 for the Kick Sauber. Let's have a look quickly at the constructor standings because these drivers are absolutely flying out of the pit box right now on the left-hand side. Aston Martin out on top in the standings, both NLR Perrin and Daddlepad and Spicer, 33 points to their name. Red Bull in second on 18, Williams in third on 15, then Haas in fourth on 10, McLaren in fifth on 4, Kick Sauber in sixth on 1, then we've got Mercedes on 0, Ferrari on 0, Alpine, and then the Racing Bulls also on 0 points as well. We're not going to take you to the track map, we're going to take you live out on track because the drivers are out there, and the biggest thing to note, of course, is still, Max, we are in the F1 World Cars. So that constructor standings does count for the drivers towards their team standings. However, of course, we have got the action out on track with the F1 World Cars once again, and that is still because of the glitches that is in the game.
Yeah, we do, and it's unfortunate, really, because we can't really keep track of who's in what team, and no one's really got the similar, unless you've got the McLaren and Williams liveries, really have got anything similar to their actual team's cars. But talking about the action on track, Schumacher is just starting his first flying lap here around Austria, heading through turn 1 quite nicely there. Weren't using all the track that he possibly could on corner exits as he now heads up into turn number 3. 17 dead in that first sector, a little lock up of the right front into turn 3, and actually seems like he is backed out of that one. So next to be on a lap after him was just behind him. I think it was BRT Owen heading down into the swash gold of turn 4 now. Down to third gear for Owen as he then picks up the power. Doesn't use all the track as well. He just keeps it away from that outside curve, maybe not to run wide onto that gravel. As he now heads into turn 6, down to fifth gear, then back on the power. Use all the track on the exits and then give you the best run through turn 7 and then 8, this little kink right, and then you head up the hill, which will then lead you straight back down it into turn 9, letting off just after the 50-meter board, getting the car turned in, a big slide through there, and a big slide through turn 10 as well. DRS open now for Owen. He crosses the line, set the first lap time of the evening, a 1-minute 3.632. Schumacher is just starting to go again, a Minotaur up to the line. He goes up into second place with 1-minute 3.7. So the times will certainly start to come in thick and faster as you see Finn Bob and Tech go up into second and third, but that changes into third and fourth for Spicer. Last week's race winner goes on to provisional pole position with a 103.5. Who is next to be crossing the line? I think it could be, it's Simrock, sorry, as he heads to the line. Only good enough for 8th place. Slowest of the competitive time runners so far. What is Daddlepad doing as he's now heading in to the final corner? One's a bit wide and a big spin for Daddlepad. And that's our first casualty here this evening. Daddlepad will start from the back of the grid. An unfortunate incident there on the exit of turn 10. A spin, just running a little bit wide, losing that traction. And unfortunately for Daddlepad, it'll be a back of the grid start, and yeah, really unfortunate there. So it's going to be a lot of work to do in the race for him.
Yeah, and we saw that in the background. We were on the ball with Predestinato, who went 10th. Daddlepad there spinning out into the wall. Of course, both Spicer and Daddlepad are part of the Aston Martin team, so one of those drivers is already out for their team, which is really, really shameful, I think, from Daddlepad. Down in 14th, a Baku winner, of course, in Legacy Division last season. Definitely going to be one to watch out for. Flo there in third in the championship. Hasn't got a lap time set on the board so far. He's now coming to the right-hander in towards the right curve at turn number 6. And he's actually well down in his lap time. Not going to be going, it seems, for another run. But it's Spicer out on top. Owen in second. Schumacher there in third. But Max, looking at the grid so far, top 12 are covered by 5/10 of a second. Or just under that, in fact, 4/10 of a second. Covering the top 12 drivers. And then we've got Owen, Schumacher, Tech, and Finnbob all on a 103.6. That is the close margin that we're talking about here in Austria.
Yeah, of course, there's not much time to really make up around this circuit because it's so short and predominantly straight lines. There's only 10 corners, obviously, so two of those corners, no, sorry, 3 of those corners are kinks, pretty much. Turns 2, 5, and 8. They're not really corners, so if you look at that, you've then got 7 corners where you can make up time. So it's going to be difficult for the drivers to really get an upper hand over one another. It's really a circuit, I feel like, Austria, where you have no middle ground. There is no, yeah, I'm all right around there. It's either you're good or you're not. So some of these drivers will struggle, which we've seen Simbarox and maybe Predestinato do on their first runs of this qualifying session. But this is all a confidence game around Austria. You need to be confident on traction and confident to really just be late on the brakes, as late as you possibly can be, and just trust the car's not going to slide out on you. So yeah, this circuit, it's so close. That's why it brings such close racing here in league racing, and that's why it's one of the great tracks to go to, because you always get wheel-to-wheel action. So yeah, expect this race to be super close, and unless there's a brilliant strategy maybe on the undercut or overcut, I don't really expect the front runners to be pulling away from the rest of the field.
No, definitely not. I think medium compound tyres certainly going to be lasting until about the halfway stage in the race. So on PSF1, actually, as Harvey's just about to start up on his run, he's going to lose all the time, though, coming after making a mistake in the final corner there. Up the running towards turn 1. I'll talk about PSF1 on Monday in a little bit, but Harvey through the right hand of turn number 1. Up the hill now in towards Remus at turn number 3. 73%, of course, of the Austrian, in fact, is made up of the mountain range, including the Styrian Mountains there at the top of the hill at turn number 3, as Harvey now comes through the right-hander at turn number 3. On the run now down in towards turn number 4, hopefully going to be as competitive as FRT were in Legacy Division in season number 3. On the run now down the hill in towards turn number 4 at Schlossgall. I'm sure FRT will be outing me on the chat very soon, as Harvey now comes through the right-hander at turn number 5 at the Paredes curve, and then through the right curve now, this left-hander at turn number 6, and he's riding the curve very aggressively there on the left-hand side to 44.4, but it's been a very scrappy lap so far from him as he now comes through the Verth curve at turn 7 and 8, and then in towards the right-hander now of turn number 9, pretty much at the top, one of the highest points on the track. Now coming to the right-hander in towards turn number 10 at the Red Bull Mobile curve. Harvey really flying his way through. Should be around a 103.8, I think, in terms of this lap. 103.9 in the end. He goes ahead of Simbarox. So not a bad lap there at all from him. Lurch there on a lap time through the middle sector. Bobbitz is on a lap. Connor on a lap as well. Just trying to see who's actually one of the furthest on right now. Finball just came across the line, was a 10th down. Blunty, however, very much so a very good driver to watch out for. We did well in Mexico on the commentary I did on Wednesday, and he's there in 7th, and he's behind Miles Kramer, who was also there on that commentary that I did on Wednesdays. Epic Vale, NLR's new signing, goes to the top. So Epic Vale out on top. Spicer there in 2nd, Owen there in 3rd. Epic Vale, who definitely proved himself as a decent contender early on in Australia, picking up a very good result, of course, last week. He is currently out on top with 10 minutes gone. Soon as I say that, though, Spicer now out on top, and NLR still have a stronger hold on a 1-2.
Yeah, really good. The two NLR boys of Epic Vale and Spicer really committed lap times, and I was on board for Vale for his middle and last sector, and it was just really committed. But unfortunately, for his sake, beaten by his NLR teammate Spicer. So I reckon it'll be a bit like, why did you do that if they were in a voice chat together? Jerome is on the lap now as he's heading through the final part of turn 10, sorry, as he now opens up the DRS. He's not set a lap time so far. Well, this puts him up into 14th place, a 1:03.881, so still plenty of time to find for Jerome. Flo, is he on a lap? Lurch isn't, he's invalidated. Flo is on a lap here, 15.9 in that middle sector. DRS now open for TF10 Flo as he's heading down into the Swash Gold. Predestinato, I think, in all of that did move up into 7th place in front of Finbob and Blunty. So now we see Flo heading into turn 5, which will lead you into turn 6, braking just after the 50-meter ball. Get it rotated in. Little bit wide from the apex there for Flo. 44.2 in that middle sector. Not too bad for him. Through turn 8 now. Very committed there. Through turn 7 and 8 there for Flo. So as he now heads up into turn 9, down to 6th gear. Get the car rotated in nicely. Oh, big slide there, low on the exit of turn 9. That's going to cost him at least half a tenth. So what's it going to be for Flo as he heads up to the line? To 1:03.7. And he slots in 2P9, so I reckon he lost a bit of time there from that slide and probably would have been enough to move him up into at least P8. So still showing how committed some of these drivers are through these corners, that they're getting on the power just that tad bit too early, causing them to have those slides as Harvey out on his outlap, but now everyone else is going to start to come out on their outlap. Just before I was going to say he's the only one on an outlap. But yeah, so a bit of a scruffy lap from Harvey. Let's see if he can improve this time around from his opening run. But a 1:03.949, he'll certainly want to improve on that and get into at least the 1:07s.
Yeah, I think Harvey's very capable of actually setting around about a 1:03.6, 1:03.7, around about that mark, pretty much mid-pack of the field is what I'm expecting him to be. He made that mistake through the final corner. It was a very scrappy lap that he was on as well. So I would not be surprised at all if he does improve quite considerably, if he does get a good run in. And all spawns from having a good run through the final corner. Looks like one of the drivers ahead has either run out of fuel or was just going very, very slow for Harvey's liking, as this car's now going to pass him on the left-hand side. And in fact, I think including Finbob, who's actually just in behind him, if I'm not mistaken. But we're right on board with the FRT man of Harvey. Now coming through the final corner, doesn't unsettle the car this time around, so he will gain time all the way through in towards turn number 1, and hopefully all the way up the hill and towards turn number 3 at Remus as well. Now into the louder curve at turn number 1 with Harvey, and that already is a dud lap because he's just made that mistake through turn number 1. He knows that, I know that, and he may as well back off and come back into the pits.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Harvey, taking too much inside curve there at the apex, causing that step out of traction. Vasquez up by 14 milliseconds in that first sector. He's now exiting turn 3. DRS open for him now as he heads down the hill into the Swash Gold. What's this going to be in the middle sector? So as he's late on the brakes at the 100-meter board, down to 3rd gear, can use all that inside curve he possibly can, uses all the track on corner exit as well. Really nice turn 4 there for Vasquez as he now heads down into turn number 6. Oh, a bit of a slide there, taking that inside curve. What's it going to be in the middle sector? He's down slightly, just under half a tenth down. So we'll see if he can find any time in that final sector. He had a little bit of a correction as well through turn 7. So as he now enters turn 9, he gets the car rotated in nicely, but no, elects to dive into the pit lane there. Not happy with that lap. Finbob, he's actually just invalidated another lap, so he's not on a lap time at the minute. Tech Brawl, he is on one as well, as he's now heading in to the middle sector, as that was Minotaur going up into 6th place there. Really good lap there from Minotaur. It's Tech up by just under a tenth of a second. This could promote him up into that top second row of the grid, into that top 4. So we'll see now, heading into that final part of the lap, turns 9 and 10, where you've got to be absolutely on the ragged edge through turn 9, then through turn 10, using a lot of inside curb. Lucky to not invalidate that one. What's it going to be for Tech? Nice. And it's provisional pole position.
Not
what
for long.
A final sector for Tech Brawl. And who's coming up to the line now, James?
Not for long, because Schumacher, the namesake, is coming through the right-hander of turn number 9. A tenth and a half up. He just runs wide coming through turn 9. Beautiful. Through turn number 10, but he invalidates it. It would have been a stonking lap. It's 1:03.2. It would have been a 1:03.284. He would have went quick, as he was living up to his namesake who won here in 2004, albeit very controversially, of course, with that 1-2 with Ferrari back in 2004. Schumacher would have went top, but it is still Tech out on top. Spies are there in second. Epic Balen 3rd, and that is Lars Kramer coming to the line to go 4th as well, and he set a purple final sector, so watch out for Lars Kramer in the first and middle sectors on his next lap. Schumacher there down in 5th. That would have been pole position for him, but it's just how the night is going so far, I think, with me and my going on board with the drivers, because honestly, he was looking really good, then he invalidated coming through turn number 9. So that is the pressure of having me riding on board with you live or trying to commentate through a lap.
Yeah, it's the pressure of being on stream has got to Schumacher. That was really unfortunate. It was just by mere millimeters that invalidated that one. So it was the exact same line as what Tech did through the final corner there. So really, really unfortunate for him, Schumacher. So still, he's in P5. It's not the end of the world. He still has another go at it as well. But that would have been a really, really good lap to end the session off. Epic Fail now coming up to the line. What will this be for him? Could this retake provisional pole away? No, only a half a tenth improvement, but only just behind the top 2 at the moment. That top 3 separated by 32 thousandths of a second. That just shows how close it can really get around Austria for pole position. That 3 cars are separated by less than half a tenth of a second. We're lining up for the final runs of qualifying. And Vasquez has actually gone out a little bit before everybody else. He's got the track to himself at the moment, so we'll have DRS open, and he now heads down, up into turn 1. So what will this be? Vasquez currently down in 17th place with a 3.8, and no, I don't think that lap. Yep, he's aborted that one, taking too much inside curve, just like what Harvey did. And unfortunately for him, that is going to be the end of that first flying lap. But luckily for him, he's given himself enough time for that mistake to go again. He's not taking too much tyre wear out of that tyre, either too much performance out of that tyre. So luckily for him, he should be able to go again and pretty much set the same lap time as what he would have set if he didn't have that turn 1 moment. But everyone else into the pit lane for now. So we're just gearing up for those final few laps to the line. And we'll see if Tech can carry on with that pole position, or will Schumacher find that time he found on that previous lap?
Normally, the order of the day around here in Austria is for qualifying to happen pretty much through the entirety of the session. However, towards the end of the session, we normally see not many improvements. So Tech, I think, is in good stead right now with that 103.329, but he's there to be shot at because Spicer and Epic Vale are also on a 103.3, and then you got Lars Kramer and Schumacher on a 103.4. We saw what Schumacher was capable of with a 103.284 early on. Whether or not he can match that later on, though, is a different thing. It's all going to be all down to who can really muster up the courage and muster up the balls around this track to try and get a good lap time in and to try and really utilise that to good effect, as Corner 16R is now coming through the final couple of corners. Vasquez is also on a lap coming through turn number 1 as well, but we'll focus our attentions on the man in 15th, 103.808, same lap time as Bobbitt's right now. Bobbitt's, of course, in the points last week, as Connor now sets his sights on turn number 1, much more settled car coming through turn number 1, gets out of the way on the right-hand side. One of the cars in the field as now Connor comes up the hill in towards turn number 3, and a 15.9, dead old Murray was in the first sector as he locks up in towards turn number 3, goes far too wide, and again, pressure getting to Connor as he runs wide at turn number 3, pretty much like what Charles Leclerc did, I think, in qualifying.
Yeah, I think it actually was, as Vasquez invalidated his lap again, so another attempted run in the bin for Vasquez. He's now trying to warm up those tyres once again, keep them in a good window for temperature, and to get that underway once more. Tech Brawl, he's on a lap. Spies is a little bit further around though, and he's actually invalidated his first attempt at this. He'll luckily have enough time to go again, so back to Tech Brawl we go. He's heading into the swash gold now of turn 4. Late on the brakes, down to 4th gear. He's using that inside curve nicely to rotate that car and bring the rear end round on him nicely through turn 5. So he now heads into turn 6. A little bit of a slide there on corner entry. Nothing too major, but he is up on his lap. This will give him a 0.2. A big slide though on the exit of turn 7 through turn 8. That could hinder him in this final part of the lap. He wasn't too committed through turn 9 last time around. This time, using all the track he possibly can. Then through turn 10, nicely done. Will this be an improvement to extend his grasp on this pole position? No, he just loses that time in that final sector due to that slide. Vasquez has retired. There's someone straight on at turn 1 as well. But what is Spicer doing? He's half a tenth down in that first sector. Epic Veil can't go again. He's made a mistake on his lap, and he went wide in turn 3. Finbob only good enough for 11th. Who else is going to be coming to the line here? Harvey in 7th place at the moment. Oh, and a big slide, and he's round. Harvey round as Lurch moves up into 6th place there. A really nice lap from him, 2,000th in front of Owen, who's into the pit lane. Predestinato up into 8th place. Who was that? Sorry, James. If you go on board with them.
Spicer was down. Lars Kramer, however, is up by 500ths of a second in the middle sector, and he's now coming up the hill in towards turn number 9. This could be a good lap here for the ET8 man as he now comes through the right-hander at turn number 9, then through the right-hander at turn number 10. Now part of FSEO Esports, of course. Lars Kramer on the run to the line. Doesn't do enough, but he does improve. A 103.399. Good lap from him. Schumacher didn't get a good lap time in either. Jerome invalidated. I think apart from Simbarox is also down. That's the end of qualifying. And like I said, 2 minutes ago, Tech out on top. It's the order of the day around here in Austria. You normally don't improve on your final runs, and that is exactly what we've seen. Bar Lars Kramer, bar I think Owen further down the field, Lurch especially there in 6th. Tech out on top. Spicer in 2nd, Epic Veil in 3rd, and everyone in the top 4 on a 103.3 and a 10th and a half covering the top 5. So close here in Austria.
Yeah, you were right saying that those final runs, you don't really improve on, because you already extracted as much out of the car as possible. And with it being Austria, such limited corners, that's why it's so close, because you cannot find too much time on your laps that you originally put on the board unless you've made a huge mistake. But Tech Brawl is on pole position. A really well worked lap, and was a little bit up in that middle sector, but just a slide out of turn 7 cost him in the end. So the rest of your order goes as follows. After this qualifying session, it's your previous race winner of Spicer in 2nd, so he's carrying on strong with Epic Veil 3rd, Lars Kramer 4th, Schumacher 5th, Lurch, Owen, Predestinato, Bobbert and Harvey round out your top 10, and outside your top 10 you have Jerome, Minotaur, Finbob, Flo, Blunty, Connor, Fazqued, Simbarox, and a Daddlepad, who of course had that incident early on in qualifying, starting 19th here this evening. We should be on for a really good race, but first we have a lobby restart to contend with to turn the collisions back on because of the slipstream issue so far in this game. But other than that, a very, very good qualifying here, James. So it's a wet race as well, but I think by WR rules, we have to have it as dynamic.
Yep, and judging by that, that is full wet conditions as well that they're having out on track right now. So, what we're going to do, while we prepare the lobby and everything, we're going to go to an intermission break. We will see you on the other side. Welcome back, everyone, to WOR Console Tier 2. We are here tonight for round number 2. It's the Austrian Grand Prix. Myself, James Head, Max Ring alongside me in the commentary box. Have been indulging in a little bit of the opening ceremony in that intermission break, I'll be honest. But Spicer out on top from Lars Kramer and Flo in terms of the standings. In terms of qualifying, however, very different indeed. A stonking lap in the end, and I'm just going to try and remember who was out on pole position, unless you can remember, Max. I hope you can.
Yeah, I can. It was Tech Brawl.
It was Tech. It was Tech. Spicer second. Daddlepad in third. I should have had that ready, but I didn't. Epic Veil, in fact,
not
there.
bad, James.
Daddlepad was, yeah, Epic Veil, even, for third.
Yeah.
What am I going on about? Lars Kramer, Schumacher, then Lurch, Owen, Predestinato, Bobbert, and Harvey, the top 10. That's how they ended off in qualifying. We did see full heavy rain conditions within that slight little interlude that we got between lobbies. I can now bring in the action out on track and say that is absolutely cloudy. It's overcast in the Styrian mountain range here at the Red Bull Ring. 4.3 kilometres in length, 2.7 mile, and plenty of overtaking opportunities to go with the 3 DRS zones, one down the start finish straight towards turn 1 at the Lauda curve, one in towards turn number 4 at Schlossgold, and then one, of course, down no, actually, there's only 2 on this track. I thought there was 3. Anyways, yeah. And one down the start finish straight. Yeah, there is 3 on this track. I don't know what I'm going on about. Anyways, Max, save me, please, because I am obviously talking absolute crap right now. Tech out on top. Should be an interesting race, though, with all of those drivers in behind, especially Epic Veil and Spies are second and third.
Yeah, it certainly should be. It's going to be interesting to see strategy and everything. So at the minute, only Lars Kramer is going to be on the hard compounded tyres. Softs won't be used unless there is a late safety car around here this evening, because they just fall off a cliff, really, the soft compounded tyres. So it is going to be mostly everybody either on the mediums or the hards, or if someone goes on the softs, they're praying for an early safety car, because after 4 or 5 laps, those softs do hit the cliff. Connor's not happy about the weather situation. He wanted it to stay rainy, so he's down in 16th. So hopefully he does move his way up the order for his sake. But he wanted the rain to stay, and unfortunately it hasn't. He's currently in 16th. His gamer tag has a number 16. Is it written in the stars? So yeah, we'll have to see how this race will go, but at the minute, a majority of the drivers will be starting on the mediums. It does seem like the medium-hard strategy is the quickest way to go around here so far on this game, from what I've seen. But someone can maybe pull off a hard medium if they want to.
Yeah, I commentate PSF1 obviously on Monday, so I know quite well what the strategies are going to be like around here. Mediums are going to last around 15, 16 laps, I think, in the first stint. Then go on for a set of hards. They are definitely the side to be on, I think, toward the end of the race. If you go hards, mediums, you can make it to around about lap 21, 22, and then put in for a set of mediums just to make sure you can try and get to the end of the race. Drivers that were there in PSF1, I think, ended up on 9-lap-old mediums right towards the end of the race with a VSC intervention, but still, those medium compounded tyres were so quick towards the end of the race, they are definitely not to be discounted out at all for any driver that might start on that tyre and on that compound as well. But hopefully, we're going to get going very soon indeed in terms of the action out on track. Let us know in the comment section who you're supporting, who you're here to support as well. And I'm going to come across to you, Max, and throw the curveball on you this time, unlike last week. Who are you going for the race win?
Oh, it's going to be so difficult because, of course, this circuit, so many overtaking opportunities, and I'm going to back Lars Kramer for this one as we're about to get underway. So, James, take us away.
We are indeed 5 red lights about to go out here in Austria. And it's lights out and away we go, and Tech gets a very good start. Spicer immediately jumps across into the slipstream to try and get him up in towards turn 1. The Tech will lead. There's 3 wide in the background, near enough of contact between Lurch and Schumacher. And in fact, Lurch is round through turn 1. After that little bit of contact, Tech will lead the way up the hill in towards turn number 3 at Remus for the first time. Epic Veil in behind Spicer second and third. Side by side between Bobbert and Owen. Side by side further down the field. Nearly 3-4 cars piling into the corner at turn number 3 at Remus. Harvey getting caught up in a slight incident there as well. Finbob running side by side as well with Harvey down the straight in towards turn number 4. Predestinato has made a good start. He's on the outside line, and Bobbitt's now in towards turn number 4 at Schlossgall. Tries to loop it all the way around the outside. Pretty much similar coloured cars. Predestinato on the inside line. Bobbitt's there on the outside line, and Bobbitt's, I think, might just try and come out on top of this one. Predestinato, they're still on the inside line, still trying to get the move done. Should be job done now and toward the route curve and in toward the birth curve. Beautiful job done. Predestinato through, and he's into 7th. The man is on a mission right now.
Yeah, a really good start here from Predestinato, and exactly what Tech Brawl would have wanted off the start to keep that race lead. But now, of course, new for 2024, DRS will be enabled after that first lap, so that lead will probably not last too much longer as he now exits out of turn 1. There could be a move further back for position. I think that's Minotaur trying to go for a move there onto Cymberox. Not able to get it done though, but further back up, Spicer versus Tech Brawl. Spicer backs out with this one. He's not going to go for it heading into turn 3. He's going to go for it into the Swashgold though of turn 4. He gets a poor exit out there. This could put him under attack here from Epic Vale, who would want to move himself up the order further as Minotaur and Daddlepad further back having a little scrap as well. Minotaur still coming out on top in that one. No moves being made though. Heading down into the Swashgold. Everyone just too far back from one another. All a very clean start other than that lurch incident as well from the rest of the field. It was just 2x2 into corners, and luckily no major contact was made. But Tech Brawl still leads on lap 2 from Spicer and Epic Vale. The top 5 have remained the same. And for Schumacher, he needs to just try stick here with Lars Kramer. But Epic Vale really putting Spicer under some pressure. So we could see attack become Spicer's best version of defence.
I honestly think NLR, Spicer and Epic Vale potentially could work together with Tech in front of him. They could try and utilise his ERS disadvantage right now, the man in the front, and he's just made a mistake through turn number 1. Spicer will be on the attack. He should go for the move because he's going to be right alongside, running up the hill in towards turn number 3. Epic Vale might try and follow through as well, but Spicer spies the gap to the inside line. Job done in towards Remus. He gets the lead of the race, and Epic Vale, Tooney's into 2nd. Exactly how I thought it would play out has just played out. As an instant further down the field, Minotaur and I think Cymberox caught up either in separate incidents or in the same incident there. So Minotaur there down in 16, Cymberox there down in 18, too late on the brakes I think in towards turn number 3, but Spicer leads, Epic Vale in 2nd, Tech there in 3rd. You may as well put the lottery numbers on because I predicted that from about 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, that was really good work there from both Spicer and Epic Vale. It all really started from that Tech Brawl mistake, which then caused, of course, Spicer to go for the move because he didn't want to be under pressure from Epic Vale heading up into turn 3 either. So we'll see now, what do these two NLR drivers do? Of course, they're not in the same team in terms of championship and in this league, but they are on the same esports team. So let's see if they do work together or if they will have their gloves off and will fight one another. A bit of a mistake there from Epic Vale. Went a bit deep into turn 1. Lars Kramer could go for a move. Epic Vale's going for a move on Spicer. He's managed to get that one done. Here comes Tech as well now to the inside of Spicer. He's going to pull this one off. Squeeze to that apex from Spicer. Epic Vale went deep into the corner. That's going to affect his run down into turn 4. Tech Brawl, though, with a good drive out of the corner. He's now going to try and retake the race lead as well into the Swashgold. No, just backs out with that one. That's going to allow Spicer to run it round the outside, but not able to get the run back underneath Tech Brawl that time to get the good old switcheroo. So Epic Vale now leads the Grand Prix from Tech Brawl, who managed to get past Spicer there with a very aggressive run out of turn number 1. Spicer, just like Tech Brawl a lap ago, went from 1st to 3rd and now is under a bunch of pressure from Lars Kramer.
And Lars Kramer, arguably, I think, is looking the quickest man out of the top 4 right now. Schumacher's trying to keep up with Lars Kramer in behind as well. 2 ex-Console Tier 1 drivers, I believe, Lars and Schumacher back in the day as well in Season 17. So Lars is definitely looking on the back of Spicer. Part of that Visio team, of course, the esports team that could be qualifying for Legacy Division in a couple of weeks' time. Tech and Epic Vale, though, are going to go absolutely hell for leather down the straight. And it could be even 4 wide up the hill in towards Remus at turn number 3. Tech on the outside line gets the job done. Spicer gets the inside line. Schumacher's came out of nowhere. Epic Vale gets a monster traction coming off the corner. Now back Thuni's into 2nd. This is like Groundhog Day on the downhill run in towards turn number 4. 3 wide as we go through. Lars Kramer around the outside of Spicer, and then Schumacher to the inside. This will be absolutely ridiculous if he pulls this off to the inside inside line they go. Epic Rail and Schumacher second and third. Lars Kramer and fourth. Spicer has just been done like a spring chicken down this hill in towards turn 4 at Schlossgård, but it's still not over and done with because Owen right in the fight as well, along with Lars Kramer. It's Groundhog Day quite literally here at Austrian Console Tier 2. Tech leads, Epic Rail in second. Who's going to come out on top of the battle for 8th though at the minute? Predestinato. Owen, Finbob getting up the move done through as well. So Finbob gains 2 positions. Absolute mental lap 5.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, all these drive went from 5th all the way up to 3rd and nearly into 2nd, and here we go then. The battle for 2nd is on the exit of turn 1. As soon as I say it, goes straight on the offensive and might even go for a lunge on Tech Brawl. That'll be a very late and opportunistic lunge. Doesn't go for it. Epic Veil tried to get the drive out to the corner further back. Bobbitts is able to get past BRT Owen. He's under pressure from Predestinato as well as we now drive down into the Schlossgård. Finbob all over the back of Lars Kramer, not going to be able to get the move done, but Schumacher now up into 2nd. Look out, Tech Brawl behind as Predestinato on Owen, still going to go side by side, heading through turns 5 and now into 6. Flo further back going to attack Harvey through turn 6, so there's a little bit of contact made between Flo and Harvey. Luckily though, no real big damage for either of them, but Tech Brawl still leads this time around. Schumacher in 2nd place, and it is all starting to kick off after that lap 5 Frenatics, and Schumacher now probably going to go for the offensive on Tech Brawl. He's not holding back in this opening stint, using those hard tires to his advantage. Of course, the more durable tyre can go longer, but that undercut very, very powerful, so it's going to be difficult later on for him to catch up to those drivers that will eventually go onto the hards once again. So here we are then, heading up into turn 3 for the 7th time here this evening. Will Epic Veil go for the move? No, a defence there from Schumacher. He's going to try send it the long way round as Lars Kramer going for a move as well on Spicer. Not to pull that one off the outside line, just having that better traction there for Spicer further back. There's moves being made left, right and centre as we head down into turn 4 once again, but no moves being made in this top 5 unless Finbob can try find a way around the outside of Lars Kramer. No, he's not able to do so, and Fazquez versus Jerome, to the inside goes Fazquez, but had to just back out of that one, and Tech Brawl still leading the way, and it stays as it was within that top 10.
And it's the calmest it's been, I think, for the last 6 laps or so. Tech leads the way, Schumacher in 2nd, Epic Veil there in 3rd, Spicer in 4th, then Lars, Finbob, Bobbitts, Predestinato, Owen and Harvey top 10, Flo, Daddlepad, Jerome, Vazquez, Minotaur top 15, and then Blunty. Connor, who's actually just overtaken Blunty, and in fact Blunty's into the pit lane, that's why he is dropping down the field. Connor's into 16th, then it'll be Simbarox and Lurch after that turn 1. Instant Schumacher runs wide at turn number 1. Epic Veil now given a chance, Spicer given a chance to have a crack, and now once again, it's Groundhog Day in towards turn number 3 because Schumacher to the inside line tries to get the move done on Tech. Tech on the outside line, forced out wide slightly there by Schumacher. Epic Veil gets a monster traction run coming up the hill in towards turn number 3. Spicer now run down towards turn number 4 side by side. Could potentially be 2x2 Noah's Ark. Schumacher now in the inside line, just about holds the lead of the race. Epic Veil there in 2nd. There's still battles going on in behind as well. Lars Kramer, Tech, Spicer, Finbob, Bobbitts. Every single one of these guys is within a battle right now. Schumacher leading the way. Finbob to the inside line on Lars Kramer. Gets the move done. Nice move there, in fact, by Finbob. Dooney's into 5th position. The man who I think got robbed last week in Australia, certainly with those incidents that he got involved with, finishing 11th in the end. There's an incident further down the field. Lars Kramer forced out wide by Finbob to the inside line into the final corner at turn number 10. Here comes Bobbitts and all of this as well. We're not going to get a word at edgeways, I think, here, but Bobbitts gets both of them in towards turn number 1. Nice move. Schumacher leads, Epic Veil 2nd, Spicer there in 3rd. Lap 9 out of 36 is about to turn into lap 36 out of 36.
Yeah, Predestinato had to go deep there, avoiding the back of Finbob as Spicer are going for a move there on Epic Vow, and here comes Bobbitts as well on Tech Brawl. Bobbitts to the inside. He's had a really good lap 9. 2 moves on the exit at turn 10. Is he going to get one on the exit at turn 3 as well? Spicer manages to get past Epic Vow. Blunty retires from this Grand Prix. He's our first retirement of the evening, as here comes Bobbitts to the inside. Gets boxed in a little bit there by Spicer, but he's going to have to drive out to the corner. A bit of a slide though there for Bobbitts, but he can still pull this one off around the outside, and he's got it done before he even gets to turn 6. Tags the back of Spicer though, that's going to affect his run out of the corner as he now enters into turn 7, but he's managed to pick it up in P4. A really good lap there from Bobbitts, gaining 3 places, and now he's all over the back of Epic Veil. Bobbitts usually does go strong around Austria, so he is one to look out for through this race. He's on the hard compounder tyres, just like Schumacher, and those hards really do seem like they're coming alive at the minute. Is Tech Brawl going to go for a move on ESV Bobberts in front. It does not look like it is going to happen, but let's see what happens out of this first corner. A bit of a slide there for Bobberts, a big slide for Harvey in the background. That's going to cost him massively. Spies are now on Schumacher, who was right on the back of him on the exit at turn 1. To the outside he goes, gets it done before the braking zone even happens, and look at the way it all could just congests further back as Lars Kramer under pressure here from Finbob, and he managed, Finbob actually, sorry, able to hold off on that one from Lars Kramer. He's going to fight back though. Is Lars to the outside? Is he going to look on Finbob? Yes, he is, but Finbob going to go attack Tech Brawl. Is he going to be able to pull that one off? It was a late lunge. Tech Brawl had to avoid, but no, can't get it done, and Finbob has to sit in 6th place. It's side by side further back between Predestinato and BRT Owen, and unfortunately there for Predestinato had to back out of that one as Daddlepad and Jerome are going side by side. A really good opening 10 laps here for Daddlepad, 19th to 12th. Unfortunately not able to get past Jerome either to make it up to 11th place, but all these drivers still within DRS from one another all the way down to Connor. Just shows how close and how well these drivers can battle Finley in this field, and it just shows how close they really are.
Tech definitely losing time, I think, right now. On that sort of medium compounder tyre, he's definitely taking those tyres a little bit too hard early on. He's all the way down in 5th. I'm starting on first, starting on pole position. He's all the way down now in 5th position, and now he is finding out what it is like to be in the big leagues. As now, speaking of big leagues, Schumacher just swipes the inside line as Spicer in towards turn number 3. Spicer, though, has a phenomenal run at the red and white car down the hill and towards turn number 4. Here comes Epic Vale in towards Schlossgall at turn number 4 as well. I think Schumacher will hold on just about. Spicer tries to loop it all the way around the outside, nearly pushed in the gravel. Mistake there by Bobberts to the inside line. Near enough 3 wide and towards the right curve at turn number 6. Schumacher just about holds on. Spicer there in 2nd. Epic Vale there in 3rd. This is pure madness out on track. It's like rush hour on the M25 right now here in Austria. Schumacher leading the way. Spicer 2nd. Epic Vale there in 3rd. But my oh my, they're still side by side actually going on throughout the field. Predestinato and Jerome were side by side as well throughout the field. But in the end, everyone, I think, beginning to calm themselves down. So I hope, because my voice is not going to last these 36 laps. Schumacher leads, Spicer 2nd, Epic Vale in 3rd. And Max, we're going to do it all over again.
Yeah, we're going straight back to it, because look at Bobberts all over the back of Epic Vale. He's got the run out of turn 1, and he can maybe get this one done. Lurch has retired from the race. He couldn't even get Spicer here, could Bobberts. He'll be late on the brakes. Super, super late. Throws it to the inside. There's contact made, there's wheel locking, but Epic Vale could get the run as well. They're making it 3 wide, heading down into the swash goal. Epic Vale just keeping his nose there, but Bobberts ends up coming out on top in that one. But that was a really nice lunge there from Bobberts. It gets himself up into 2nd place. Lars Kramer, Tech Brawl, Finbob, and Spies are now going 2 by 2 as they head into turn 6. Lars Kramer to the inside line, only Finbob, but Spies as well. He goes deep into the corner.
How?
Damage for Finbob. Spice has managed to keep the car in a straight line somehow, but unfortunately for Finbob, like it was in Australia, he's got some front wing end plate damage, and that's going to really affect his whole race. And unfortunately, I think it was Tech Brawl who got that wing plate damage, who nearly collected Lars Kramer heading into the pit lane, and so Lars Kramer comes out on top in that battle with Spicer, but I reckon that won't be under investigation at the end of the race, because that was a very, very half-hearted lunge that ended with contact, and that's allowed that top 3 to break away slightly.
Yeah, and it's a really aggressive battle that I think has just taken too much sour too quickly in terms of that racing. It was very good racing up until that point, but in the end, Tech, who started on pole position all the way down toward the back end of the field. Owen and Predestinato win. That is for tactical pit stops. That is for a set of hard compounder tyres right till the end of the race. Tech also coming in for a set of hard compounder tyres as well. And in fact, actually, judging by Harvey nearly gets contact, I think, on the back of Spicer and towards turn number 4 there at Schlossgall. Jerome on the back of him. I think Tech, did he have a front wing change in that pit lane? Didn't certainly have damage, because he hasn't lost much time.
I don't know, that could have been a planned stop. I know it came off one of the cars. Let me quickly have a look at Finbob. I think he did have front wing end plate damage, and we see drivers coming into the pit lane now.
Yeah, Finbob,
and it was
Finbob
right, picked up the damage. Oh, he nearly gets collected by Spicer heading into the pit lane. But Epic Vale and Finbob now coming into the pit lane. The undercut, very, very powerful. I saw here in PC Tier 4, 2 drivers came in on lap 12, managed to break away, and with how aggressive everyone was battling further behind, weren't able to be caught on their old hard compounded tyres. Further back, we have Daddlepad versus Connor now heading up the hill. They could get boxed in by Harvey here, which Connor does. Daddlepad to the inside of Harvey, managed to get the move done. very, very nicely. Further up, Schumacher on the back of Bobberts. Could Bobberts have to relinquish his lead versus Schumacher? Yes, he will. He's not even going to fight that. Brilliantly planned there from Bobberts.
Oh, he's
Knows
gone
he doesn't
deep.
want to lose much time. Schumacher's gone deep into turn 4, though. That could allow the door open for Bobberts, but no. Unfortunately for Bobberts, not able to get the run out the corner, but very smart for him. Doesn't want to lose time at all. Just allows Schumacher through, and he'll just sit in that DRS for another lap. So it just shows how wise Bobberts has got in the past, I think 5 or 6 seasons he's been here in Crossplay Tier 2, and he's really, really managed to get those strategies under his belt and knows exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah, they were playing a little bit of tactical high-speed poker, I think, down the straight and towards turn 3 and 4. Because Schumacher was in front, Bobberts went into the outside line, got the move done. Schumacher tactically stayed in behind, got the run out of turn number 3, on the run down and towards turn number 4. And that's exactly what we saw. Now, this time, Bobberts is going to say, nah, you know what, I'm not taking that. I'm going to go for the race lead. I'm going to split away from the rest of the field and behind. We've got a safety car, though, out on track because there is a yellow flag, and I'm not sure who that might be for. I am looking through the field desperately. Is it Jerome that has lost his front wing? Yes, it is. Jerome has lost his front wing on through turn number 1, I believe, or through the final corner. One of them two. He's got no front wing on the car. Safety car is deployed out on the track. There is a glitch.
It's a virtual safety car.
Is it a virtual? Yes, it
yeah,
is. You're right.
It was because Harvey was coming out the pit lane at the same time.
It's Harvey. I thought the safety car was coming out. It's Harvey's yellow dot that is coming out of the pit lane. My apologies. It is a VSC out of track. Jerome lost that front wing. I was about to say it is a glitch with the safety car coming out and the VSC being on the top left-hand side of your screen. Ignore what I've just said, though, because Harvey did come out of the pit lane at exactly the same time. So thanks, Harvey. You could have been the safety car, but you weren't. And it looks like Lars Kramer and Spicer are staying out for now. Daddlepad, however, is in, and that is a wrong decision because he's into the pit lane. DRS is enabled. We're back to green flag racing. Daddlepad has been done for with that VSC restart.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Daddlepad, but luckily he wouldn't lose about maybe 2 or 3 seconds as much as he would if he came in on a normal pit stop there. He's lagged, of course, in the pit lane. When's he going? There he is, and where's he going to come out? He's behind Owen, behind Harvey. I think he's just going to come out in front of Predestinato in P13. Yes, he is. As Flo's dropping down the order. Something's happened to Flo. I think he might have made a mistake there on the exit of turn 1. Yes, he's missing a front left end plate, and now he's just bringing it back to the pit lane, make sure he's out of everybody's way. Further back up, the battle in that top 2. Actually make that top 3 with Lars Kramer joining the fight as well. Epic failed to get past Tech Brawl there. Of course, those two boxed early on into this one, so they have made their mandatory stop. That is the battle for the net race lead. And at the minute, Epic Veil coming out on top in that one. Spies is the only medium runner to not come into the pit lane as of yet. We'll see when he elects to come in. Not this time around. He's going to try and take it all the way to the end of lap 17 at the very least. But we'll see Bobberts under pressure from Lars Kramer. Of course, these guys will go onto the mediums.
Oh,
that yellow flag is for Flo. And it's another virtual safety car.
Yeah, VSC, and I think he's lost completely now his front wing, if I'm not mistaken. Looking on board with him now, most drivers have missed the pit lane. So again, the VSC has been done. He's lost completely his front wing. Still a VSC out on track. It's the second one of this evening. And Flo did that coming through turn number 7. So he's definitely going to be in the pit lane. Judging by how that car's squirreling on the rear end, I think he's got rear wing damage as well on that car. So I would not be surprised at all if he does retire into the pit lane. You've almost picked up a 3-second penalty there. Flo doesn't speed into the pit lane, but he could still retire out from this race as DRS is immediately enabled. One of the quickest VSC restarts I think I've seen on this game so far. Flo is into the pit lane. Looks like he'll continue on, probably thinking beyond hope more than anything that a full safety car to come out and then he can get back in this race.
Yeah, I do like that Flo has stayed into this one after those mistakes, because a safety car can happen at any moment, especially with how aggressive those drivers were earlier on in this race. That safety car could certainly come at probably near the end of the race when everyone starts to heat up slightly. So Flo still going on in this one. I fully respect that of not just retiring in the pit lane and praying for a safety car to come out, but he's nearly a lap down, so he needs to stay in front of these guys who do need to make their stop though. So Bobberts now going to go for the attack on Schumacher. He'll take your race lead on the road. It won't be the race lead after the pit stops, but still is a good start. But he goes deep into turn 3. That's going to allow Schumacher to fight back. Schumacher of DRS as well. He has the battery advantage too. As we now head down into turn 4, the Swash Gold. Lars Kramer going to look for the inside as well. He's going to hang it down the inside. Can he pull this one off? Bobbitt's swinging it around the outside. Jerome retired in the pit lane, and really nicely done there from Lars Kramer. Forced Bobbitt's wide and made that move his own and took that position away from Epic Vale and Techball. They're still battling in this one. Epic Vale with a big slide through the Swash Gold. This could allow Techball to now get the run up into turn 6. Unfortunately though for Techball, not able to get anywhere near an overtake into turn 6, but luckily for these two, they can't. They're doing the overtakes at the right time as Lars Kramer's into the pit lane. Spies is into the pit lane as well now. So that Spicer with a really good stint here on tyre management, I think, here, James, because he's managed to take it as long as some of the hard runners.
He has indeed, but he's going to be on probably the wrong tyre towards the end of the race, whereas Lars Kramer's going on the set of mediums. He can begin to pull away at this point in the race from him, so this is going to be intriguing, I think, for Spicer and for Lars Kramer, who has got that strategy right. I think Lars Kramer is more than a second ahead of Spicer coming out of the pit lane. In fact, he is. He is more than a second ahead of Spicer coming out the pit lane, so that is absolutely crucial to how Lars Kramer is going to approach this race. The interval timings will fix themselves on the left-hand side of the screen as they go through this lap. Schumacher, though, leads the way. Bobbitt's there in second. If you were Schumacher and Bobbitt right now, Max, what would you do? Would you come into the pit lane, go for a set of medium compound tyres, or would you actually stay out for a few more laps, like some guys did in PSF1 on Monday, and then try and get that to the end of the race on, what, 10, 11 lap all mediums? Judging by what they're doing, they're staying out.
Yeah, they're staying out. I would have come in to cover off that undercut there from Lars Kramer and get straight back behind him because they're going to lose so much time because the undercut's so powerful. So I think they're just either hoping for a safety car to come out when they need to box up. We've seen the virtual safety car twice so far this evening. Or they are just trying to prolong this stint, thinking they can make that time back with everybody being on worse hard compounded tyres and just pushing those mediums all the way to the end of the Grand Prix. Techball still in front of Epic Vale. They're nearly behind Simbarock, who hasn't boxed at all. Here comes Epic Vale. Very nicely done with the DRS to put himself into the net race lead up in P5. He's got Simbarock just in front, but he's gone deep into the corner. He's had to go over the curb. This could allow Techball to get the run out of the corner, and look at that. Just shows how getting one messy exit can ruin the move he just made, as Techball, after he initiates the DRS, was already a car length ahead. So Techball back up into that net race lead. Lap 20 of 36. 16 laps to go here in the Styrian Hills. And at the moment, it is Techball that'll be leading the way after the pit stops. But on the road, Bobbitt and Schumacher both coming in, so it's now going to be a battle of the pit stops.
It is indeed, and Schumacher is going to lead coming into the pit lane on lap 21. Bobbitt thought was going to try for the move into the pit lane there, I'll be honest. Connor's in. Simbarock's also coming into the pit lane, I believe, as well. So them four are in. Everyone else is staying out. Tech Brew and Epic Vale, by the way, that battle for the lead. Epic Vale, I think, has been really smart. He's got more ERS than Tech right now. 59% for Tech, 91% for Epic Vale. So I think he has been much smarter than the bloke ahead of him. Vazquez on the back of them both has got 90%. So in fact, he's got more than both of them at this moment in time. But nobody's going to make the move in towards turn number 4. Where are the likes of Simbarox and the likes coming out? Schumacher and Bobbitt are ahead of Finn Bob. They're behind Lars Kramer and Spicer, who are battling in towards turn number 3. Battle on towards turn number 4 for the lead, though, because Epic Vale flies past Tech down in towards turn number 4. Gets caught in the outside curve slightly, just locks up, but it's nicely done from the new NLR man, and he's into the lead of the race. He's really managing this race well right now. He's on a lap fresher tyres than Tech, 3 lap fresher tyres than Vazquez. He has got control of this race, but the position you do not want to be in this position is P1. You do not want to hold that absolute pastime place in front. Personally, if I'm the drivers out there on track right now, I'd be in Harvey's position, because Harvey, despite him having a penalty, is in 5th, 6 lap old hards compared to everyone else who's on more older hards ahead of them. Then you've got the medium runners coming through the field. Whatever the complexion of this next 15 laps is going to be, it's going to be one hell of a race.
Yeah, it really is going to be a brilliant race as Epic Vale able to get past Techball overtaking Epic Vale, and Vazquez is right behind them too. He's going to go for a move, maybe. Harvey going for a move. He's hit the side of Vazquez, and unfortunately for him, drops down behind Owen, but luckily stays within DRS as he now exits out of turn 3 and down into turn 4. but Epic Veil and Tecral in two really good positions at the moment to keep this race lead and the top two. Spicer trying to go for a move here on Predestinato. Really nicely done to the inside there through turn 4. He's up into 7th place behind Daddlepad now, who's 2.6 seconds off that that 5-car train in front. So for Spicer, needs to get that move done and needs to keep pushing forward. Lars Kramer somewhat has been halted here by Predestinato. Did come out in front of Spicer, got overtaken. Not really been able to make the moves, has Lars Kramer. He's got the pace, just not able to be clinical enough to get those moves done. Bobbits did pick up a 3-second time penalty. That's ruined his race really with that penalty. As Epic Veil now all over the back of Tech Brawl. Is he going to go for a move here into turn 3? It does look so. So, to the inside, to Epic Veil will go, and he gets the move done, but even before they hit the braking zone, and Spicer's going to the inside of Daddlepad as well. He's got that one done too, as Tepral, as Epic Veil went deep again, and Tepral's managed to get back by, so Epic Veil really struggling with slowing the car down into turn 3. This could allow Fazqued to go around the outside. Is he going to be able to get this one pulled off? He's going for the up and under, can't get it done. It's Predestinato now under pressure from Lars Kramer. Lars deep on the brakes, there's a little bit of contact made as we now exit out of turn 4 through turn 5, the outside for turn 6 between Lars Kramer and Predestinato. More contact made into a spin, and that's 2 times now. Lars Kramer's made contact with somebody heading through turn 6, one on the outside, one on the inside.
Yeah, and it looked like Lars Kramer was just about cutting off Predestinato on a much deeper angle going into the corner. That was a beautiful helicopter shot. Go and review that after the race, because that is a very interesting incident, I think. I don't think anything will happen. Schumacher, by the way, getting the move done on Lars Kramer. Speaking of which, he's up into 8th position and has got DRS just about, which is really, really good. Vazquez on the back of Epic Veil. Everything calming down ahead. It's behind that's going on because Daddlepad and Spicer allowed to battle within their own team, which is really good. NLR, Daddlepad and Spicer, 6th and 7th position. They're going to battle again down in towards turn 4. The Binance car on the right-hand side, getting now overtaken by Spicer in the natural NLR Esports F1 World livery on the run there down in towards turn 4. Spicer through and he's into 6th. What are they going to do though in this situation? Spicer's on much more fresher hard compounder tyres. He's 2.6 seconds off the back of Harvey. Those tyres, those hards, are going to be so durable towards the end of the race. I don't think Spicer's going to make any inroads on that gap. I think the guys ahead, DRS training ahead, are going to have that advantage. Spicer has got clean track ahead of him, but at what cost for his tyres and at what cost for his battery?
Yeah, that's going to be a big issue here for Spicer, but he could maybe work together with Daddlepad here, with every DRS straight where, say, up into turn 3 they swap around, then into turn 4 they swap around again, or one just follows the other. So that could be a strategy that they work out. Last Kramer, 3-second time penalty, but here comes Fazqued to the inside of Epic Veil to maybe throw everything into disarray, as there he goes to the inside. Harvey making more contact up at turn 3, this time trying to overtake Owen, doesn't work out for him, as Epic Veil with the run out the corner on those fresher tyres to get that traction, as Fazqued's going to try hold this one round the outside. Is he going to be able to pull this one off? He's on 14 lap old hard compound tyres. Daddlepad now picks up another 3-second time penalty, and Epic Veil stays in front of Fazqued in the end of all of this, and Fazqued has to just sit for 3rd place once again, but showing that 14 lap old mediums aren't as bad as the 11 lap old hard, so he can still stick with these guys. So as you were saying about that whole Spicer situation, he's now been overtaken by Schumacher, but for Spicer that could be a very, very costly strategy, staying out for so long, because unless Schumacher can really start making some inroads, which he is, he's now down to 2.1, and unless he can stay with him, I think Spicer's out of any chance of making it back-to-back race wins.
This is exactly what Spicer and Daddlepad and Lars Kramer and Bobbits, in fact, actually needed. The medium runner going ahead. Speaking of going ahead, Epic Veil goes for the race lead in towards turn number 3. Remus, job done. With 11 laps to go, 10.5 if you're being picky. Spicer, actually, Epic Veil runs out wide. Tech gets the move done through turn number 3. Epic Veil got the switch back really nicely coming out the corner, but ran too deep going into the corner itself. Ran out wide, and now Vazquez back through and he's into 2nd. Nice job from him. Spicer there on the back of Schumacher. Daddlepad and Lars Kramer all going in their private squabbles as well. But this is exactly what I think the guys needed ahead. Schumacher now can put fresh impetus on that medium compounder tyre to try not only pull away from Spicer and Daddlepad, but to also try and drag them along with him. He's much better through the corners, and look at the gap, it's 1.9 seconds. He's not using up much ERS, he's got 35% of ERS to try and use up. 2 seconds behind. This gap could close down. Schumacher could easily be either in a bit of no man's land right now, as it's looking likely with Spicer and Daddlepad not keeping up with him, or Schumacher can get onto the back of the front train, drag Spicer, Daddlepad, Lars and Bobbits along with him, and then we've got a 10-car battle for the race lead, with about 7 of them having penalties.
Yeah, so this mainly is going to be about who doesn't have a penalty when they cross the line in front of the other. So, Tepbrel just staying in front of Vasquez for now, as Epic Val not able to get a move done just yet. Is he going to go look for a move? He's got the overspeed heading down into turn 4, but no, can't get close enough to get the move done into the Swash Gold. And we'll have a look on the exit now of turn 4 if anyone can be going for a move up into turn 6. Vale's getting closer, not able to get it done. Still here in Austria, as Schumacher 1.7 is now the gap, heading down into 1.6. Every time there's no DRS zone, Schumacher gains by about 3 or 4 tenths through about 2 to 3 corners at a time. So now heading through turns 9 and 10, this is really where that tyre difference will be found. You see 1.6, will probably head down to 1.5 on the exit of turn 10. No, actually, so he's not finding as much time as I thought he would have, but those mediums will start to struggle now at this point, being 7 laps old. Further up, will Vasquez go for a move on Tepbrel to make his way up into the race lead? Yes, he will. Will Epic Val follow him through? He's going to try follow him through on the outside line, swing it around the outside. It's a yellow flag, but Tepbrel still hugging it down the inside. There's contact made. Vasquez sent into a half slide. Luckily, he's able to keep that one in a straight line, though, as Epic Val was able to get past Vasquez too. Tepbrel keeps his race lead. He hung it up the inside still, but Vasquez still going to go for it, not able to get it done. But Tepbrel really nicely worked, hung it up the inside when he needed to, and he managed to keep the race lead. We're on lap 28 of 36. Not long left in this Grand Prix now, but that gap still coming down between Schumacher and Owen. 1.3 as we exit out of turn 8.
1.2 and Schumacher, do you know what? I think he's going to be winning DRS. Not this lap around, but I think next lap around, if he uses up that battery, but he's dragged Daddlepad along with him, which is good. But Lars Kramer spies a Bobbert all in behind as Owen now picks up a penalty. He's picked up, I think, 6 seconds now worth of penalties. In fact, we'll have a look now. Harvey's on 6, Owen's on 12, in fact. Goodness me. Daddlepad on 3, Spicer, Lars Kramer all on 3, along with Bobbert. Minotaur on 6, Simbervox on 6, Connor on 6, on 3. And Epic Vale goes for the lead of the race. Harvey goes for 3rd as well, and Vazquez absolutely powers down the inside line. Mike's contact as well on the inside line. I think there's more carbon fibre being flown off there. On the right side end plate there of Vazquez just about gets away with it, but Tech and Epic Vale might be in the clear here. Now Schumacher, as a result of these aggressive battling and more aggressive battling, as Harvey nearly takes up Vazquez through turn number 3 and actually does take him out. That is not, say, intentional. We'll have to leave that one to the stewards. Techno leads the way. Epic Vale in 2nd. Daddlepad, though, getting into this race. He's there in 4th position from 19th on the grid and getting disqualified and not even having a lap time in qualifying. He's there in 4th. Schumacher there in 5th. But that battle, I'm afraid to say, as Owen, I think, is into the pit lane. In fact, he is. Owen is into the pit lane. So I think he's got damage as well. Tech leads the way. Epic Vale in 2nd. This has turned very sour very quickly as Owen speeds in the pit lane and retires. I don't blame him. But then again, that battle with Harvey and that battle as well, I think Lars Kramer it was, definitely not on the order as Epic Vale once again passes Tech to the race lead.
Yeah, that was very sour, very quick. I watched that from Harvey's onboard, that collision with Vazquez. And it just seemed like he didn't want to stop. He just didn't want to stop, and he went into the side of Vazquez, and then when he did that, he went straight on into the gravel trap. So it was just tempers boiling over, I think. And there's more contact further back. Simbrox and Minotaur. Minotaur going wide on the exit of turn 3. Nearly both of them heading off, spearing into the wall. But I think because of all that battling, it's now Epic Val versus Tepbrel for this race victory. And really unfortunate for the likes of Daddlepad, Schumacher, Bobbits and Spies, and not being able to catch up to that top 2 because of all that battling that went on and gave Tepbrel and Epic Val that extended advantage. But we'll have to wait and see. 2.2 is now the gap, but if Epic Vale and Tepbrel just work together for these next 2 or 3 laps, they know they will be safe from the cars behind and can have a brawl on that final lap of proceedings. So now DRS open for Tepbrel once again as he heads up into turn 3. Epic Vale is just going to keep it around the outside if he can, but no, elects to back out of that one. Allow Tech Brawl to go through, get the DRS, and get the run down into the swash goal. But 2.1 is now the gap between Schumacher and Epic Vale. It's coming down, but then instantly, as soon as the DRS is turned back on, it goes straight back up as Epic Vale elects to sit behind Tech Brawl once again.
Ooh.
So I reckon these two going to be working together, but a big mistake there, I think, there from Vale, locking up the rear tyres, and that's brought that gap down to 2 seconds. But I just don't think it'll be enough here for Schumacher to catch up to Epic Vale.
Schumacher there in third is beginning to pull away from Daddlepad now. Daddlepad's tyres, I think, are beginning to go off the cliff slightly, and Schumacher is inching away. I'll say this now. Am I mad to think Schumacher's going to actually win this race? Because I think he's in the best position right now. He's in third. I know he's got that gap of 1.8 seconds to close in. It's just whether or not his tyres are good enough towards the end of the race to really last. I think he's been really coy with those tyres in his early stint, and I think he can get them to the end. Tech and Epic Vale are obviously going to battle each other, and they're going to battle each other until the cats come home. And speaking of which, here we go again. Round 3 between them this time. Up the hill and towards turn number 3. Epic Vale through on Tech into the race lead. But Schumacher now just closing that gap for the first time. 1.4 seconds now the gap. It was 1.7. Now fluctuates back up to 1.6. Schumacher is dragging Daddlepad along with him. If Schumacher and Daddlepad don't get aggressive with their fighting, and Epic Vale and Tech do, Daddlepad, Schumacher, maybe even Spider and Bobbits are in that battle for the lead. It all depends now, though, on whether Daddlepad and Schumacher can work together. And I think that all hell's sake with this race, even though Daddlepad's got a penalty, Schumacher hasn't, I think they work together and try and close that gap, because that gap is closable in the time we've still got left in this race.
Yeah, it is, but it's all about if Tech Brawl and Epic Vale do work together in this one too. So now exiting out of turn 10 with the top 2, 1.5 seconds. That gap really is coming down. So maybe here, James, those tyres for Epic Vale and Tech Brawl have hit the cliff. A big slide for Tech Brawl out of turn 1 as well. That cliff has certainly started to approach them. It's been slowly creeping up on them in the past few laps. That's why they've been trying to swap around with one another. As actually Tech Brawl goes deep into turn 3, getting the move done on Epic Vale. That's going to cost them an abundance of time to the cars behind. Look at that, Schumacher 1.5, 1.4, 1.3 now. They're really starting to close, and we could see Schumacher and Daddlepad enter the fray for this race victory. All it takes is a good middle part of the lap with Tech Brawl and Epic Vale's tyres slowly fading, slowly losing all performance and all ability to give them the grip that they need to get Schumacher within DRS range. It's 1.1, 1.2.
Oh, no.
He's picked up a penalty on the exit of turn 8. He's picked up a penalty, and that could be it. It could still be only Epic Vale and Tech Brawl for this race victory. Spies is able to get past Bobbits heading into turn 9. But for Schumacher, it could be heartbreak here in the closing stages of the Austrian Grand Prix. We have 3 laps to go here, James. He's just not within DRS range, but at top 2, they're still going for it, and they're still working together.
Schumacher may as well just stay behind Daddlepad, because Daddlepad's now going to drag them within DRS range. This is absolutely brilliant now, this race. Daddlepad is within DRS range, so is Schumacher, and exactly what I predicted what would happen has just happened once again. Just call me Mystic James. Tech leads the way, Epic Vale in second, Daddlepad in third, Schumacher there in fourth. Daddlepad now, though, has got to get on the back of Epic Vale and Tech if he wants to get this race win. I know he's got that 3-second penalty, but if he wants to get this race win at least out on track, he's got to close the gap, and the gap is now a second. Schumacher's tyres all of a sudden beginning to hit the cliff. He's beginning to lose a little bit of time. Daddlepad has got to get within a second to save him and Schumacher's chance of winning this out on track. Tech leading the way, Epic Vale in second. Those tyres are going off the cliff. We've got the final 2 laps to go. Daddlepad and Schumacher now within DRS range. It's just whether or not Daddlepad's tyres are good enough and Schumacher's tyres are good enough towards the end. ERS looking really good, but look at how much ERS the front 2 have got compared to the guys behind. Tech on 60% and not using any up. Epic Vale on 90%. Daddlepad's on 25% and Schumacher's on 44%. All of this is going to boil down to is who's got the most ERS towards the end of the race and who's got the most edge of steel towards the end of the race with 1.5 laps to go.
Yeah, here we are then with Epic Vale and Tech Brawl. Are they going to go side by side into the final turn 4? Sorry, no, they're not. Bobbits have to get past Spicer in the background. That is the battle for 5th place. Really nicely done there from Bobbits with the DRS. But Daddlepad just waiting in the wings here, waiting for a mistake to creep up between that top 2. We've seen both Tech Brawl and Epic Veil go really deep on the brakes into turn 3 to get the move done and cause them to overshoot the corner. If that happens again and Daddlepad's able to sliver through and these two still squabble into the Swash Gold, we could still see a contact and collision made, which we don't want to see, but Daddlepad win this Grand Prix. So on to the final tour of proceedings for round 2 here in Austria. We will get a different winner here in Austria. So what will happen? The Styrian Hills are coming alive here on this final lap of proceedings. So Epic Veil, is he going to go for the move now? Up into turn 3. Attack will be his best form of defense from Daddlepad behind. He's got to the inside. He's got to force Tech Brawl wide. He's got the DRS advantage still as well. Schumacher able to get past Daddlepad in the background of these two squabbling as well. As here we go then. Tech Brawl not able to keep eye of Epic Veil with the DRS. Daddlepad and Schumacher make a little bit of contact heading down to turn 4. Tech Brawl with a slide heading through the Swash Gold. But it'll be Epic Veil who's coming out on top for now. He just has the middle sector to keep the car within track limits, and will Epic Veil do just that? Now heading through turn 7 and 8. He waited that opening round. He was so promising through that opening round to look on for a win, but unfortunately mistakes cost him as he's now heading through the penultimate corner and into the final one. He can now say he's a tier 2 winner here in WOR. Epic Veil across the line in the Styrian Hills, and he wins here in Austria from Tech Brawl in second, and then Daddlepad at the line beats Schumacher 19 milliseconds. Brilliant race. And it's Epic Veil. They make it, NLR make it 2 wins from 2 different drivers. But it's Epic Veil this time around, who comes out on top with his teammate, NLR teammate Spies are down in 7th. But Veil, what a drive here in Austria, and really well worked to get that move done on that final lap against Tech Brawl.
And all I'm going to say now is NLR spot talent when they see it, and Epic Veil has rewarded them with that NLR signing. It came on Monday, I think, and now he's a console tier 2 race winner within 5 days of joining the team. Absolutely brilliant. He ran that race absolutely ragged. Daddlepad gets driver of the day. Driver of the day for me is Epic Veil. He was absolutely, to coin a phrase, epic out on track, but he was absolutely brilliant. In terms of his ERS conservation, right on that final lap of the race, that's what won in that race. It was phenomenal ERS decisioning, phenomenal ERS saving on that final lap. He is very much overjoyed. He sent the love to the fans there, certainly in the chat and to his own team as well for NLR. But the Italian is out on top. Have we got a new Italian stallion coming through here on console tier 2? It is Epic Veil who does take that race win. The NLR mechanics and engineers are absolutely thrilled. I am guaranteeing this. But Epic Veil takes an epic victory in Austria. We'll cut short the podium celebrations just to bring you through the running order, because sometimes it black screens on my end. Epic Veil out on top from Tech in second, who was very much under the cosh in that first half of the race. He was very slow in the first half, came alive in the second half. Daddlepad from 19th on the grid into third, phenomenal drive from him. Schumacher in fourth, 19 hundredths of a second separate then Boberts in fifth, Finn Bob, Spicer, Vazhead, Pedestanato and Connor top 10, Minotaur, Simbarox, Harvey, Flo, Owen top 15, 14 finished in the end. Owen, Lars Kramer, Jerome, Lurch and Blunty didn't. They all DNF'd out of that one. My word, what a race we had there in console tier 2. Where do we even begin to analyse that race?
I have absolutely no clue. That was such a phenomenal race, such a brilliant ending as well. We had 4 cars battling for that win, and I think Epic Veil just played that one perfectly. He had the DRS advantage and just absolutely worked that well with the DRS and the ERS on the final lap, and that showed why he come out on top, because he just managed that one so beautifully. He did the strategy perfect as well. There was no faults to his race there for Epic Veil. So really well worked, and a thoroughly deserved win here in tier 2, and something that he can be very proud of, and maybe even with that management and all that strategy, take on to further races.
Definitely so, and that will be taken, of course, on to further races indeed. He is certainly going to manage himself very well. I've got to say, moving forward, he's got a brilliant team underneath him as well. Are we going to get any interviews, by the way, tonight? Do you mind asking in the chat?
I will ask now. I'll have a look. So
Well, while you do that, I will tease some announcements because you might have seen on social media that PC Tier 1 is back for WR Console. WR Console? WR PC Tier 1 for Season 18. It starts next week. Sao Paulo, I think that is on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Sao Paulo in Brazil, round number 1 of the championship will begin. As you can see on there, on the graphic, Bjarno Upme and Thomas Runhard will probably feature as part of the 20 drivers that are going to be announced on social media. So keep an eye on everything in terms of social media on WR. We'll mention all of our social media accounts right at the end. Sao Paulo for round 1, though, and then it's Qatar, Abu Dhabi, Texas in America, Great Britain at Silverstone, of course, Bahrain, and then Mexico City, which is a very good track to have a race around on this game cycle, round number 7 of the championship there. And of course, more action to come for round number 3. May just say it now that I'm probably going to be there next week for the Belgian Grand Prix for round number 3 from August 1st to 2nd. And that is, of course, it's Spa-Francorchamps, and that is, of course, the hosting the real life Formula One Grand Prix as well. Any ideas on whether we are getting any interviews?
We're gonna get one from Daddlepads.
Lovely.
Not one from Epic Vale though. He says he can't do one, unfortunately. And we've not heard from Tech Brawl, so hopefully Daddlepad will hop into the waiting for interviews. And actually, Tech Brawl has also hopped in, so we'll get Tech Brawl in
Lovely.
first because Daddlepad's not in the waiting for interviews yet. So Tech Brawl is now going to come into the chat.
Right.
There we go.
Drag him in. He is here, Mr. Tech Bro. Win out on track. Oh my word, an absolute helter-skelter of a race. Finishing, dropping down to P5, I think it was, on the opening couple of laps. And then having to come back from being just under the caution a little bit, trying to fight through the field. And in the end, taking that P1, you must be feeling very relieved right now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm feeling very, very happy about that race.
I am glad you are feeling very happy about that race as well. Because talk us through it, because it was an absolute mad race. Battles going up and through the field. I honestly thought you were in one of the worst positions in the race, being out there in front in the early stages. Definitely, though, came alive on that second stint, especially pitting in early. That's what suited you.
Yeah. Well, for pitting so early, me and Owen were going to work together. But unfortunately, he had wing damage, so he couldn't kind of keep up. And so did the car behind us also have wing damage. But me and Finn Bob tried working together. When I got to P5, we ended up sliding through when they pushed each other off track or something like that. He got wing damage, which was kind of unlucky. So we just pitted early and hoped for an undercut.
And that undercut well and truly worked. You must have been delighted to see everyone making contact with each other in behind, especially the final 5 laps or so. And you getting that gap with Epic Vale. It was one of those races where you've obviously finished in second. You came up slightly short with Epic Vale, but that was a really good battle between you both. Really clean throughout, and that just epitomised, I think, the battle between you and having that gap towards the end of the race between you both.
Yeah, well, that gap was kind of created through my mistake. I kind of messed up and went really slow. So I missed my braking point by like a meter or two. So everyone backed up and then everyone collided, which just gave us the gap.
Yeah, and that gap, of course, well received, and definitely, no, coming up short, P2 must feel heartbreaking, but it was still a very good race from your perspective. Max, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
Two from me here, Tech. First of all, that qualifying lap seemed very, very on the limit. Was that final run gonna be better, or was that mistake just something that was just brewing throughout the lap?
It was. I was a 10th up going into the last sector, and I just kind of messed it up. Like I can't remember exactly what happened, but I remember going from a 10th up to a 10th down. So I was just kind of praying that I got pole. I knew it were a good lap. That was my PB lap. So I was just kind of praying.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations on second place as well. And also, final one, of course, we head to Belgium next week. Will you be there? And you confident?
I'll be there, but I don't know if I'm confident or not. I need to figure out a good setup because I haven't done Belgium since probably patch 1, like the first patch. So I should be decent in Belgium. Hopefully a top 10, maybe a top 5. Who knows?
Yeah, well, hopefully, in your case, we see you back here in the commentary box. But yeah, well done on your second place this evening.
Thank you. GG's.
Yeah, I did say he won the race, which was unfortunate he didn't. Epic Rail won the race. You can
Yeah.
probably forgive me for that. We can get Daddlepad though in for an interview with his P3 finish.
Yes, we can. There we go.
There. Oh,
Oh,
he's
oh.
gone.
It could be a case we have to go into waiting for interviews.
Let's do that. Let's go waiting for interviews, and then we can take
Yeah.
it from there. Right. Let us jump in. There we are, and Daddlepad shall hopefully join back very soon indeed. But what we can do is talk through, of course, Belgium coming up next week. One of the track that is absolutely formidable, of course, changed on this game cycle with that brand new layout, albeit 2 years too late. But still, it is a worthwhile layout. Very good racing happens around that track. Very good overtaking opportunities. Should be a league racer's favourite, you would think.
Yeah, I've done a few commentaries around there so far on this game, and it seems like a very interesting circuit, Spa. So we'll see what drivers can do. Strategy is going to play a big part, and again, the slipstream down the Kemmel Straight, up Rouge and Radion, going to be absolutely crucial. And we do have Daddlepad here for his third place interview. So James, take us away on the interviews once again.
Yes, Daddlepad P3 out on track and NLR 13 out on track. I'll mention that as well. Congratulations on that P3. It was well fought out though because you and Schumacher were side by side coming through the final corner.
Yeah, it was quite an interesting one. A lot of battles, as I messed up my quali quite massively. So a little challenge for the race, but it was good fun. Also battling with Schumacher, as you mentioned, was quite intense. I thought I joked it into turn 3 and 4, obviously, but then I don't know what happened. I think he got a snap on the sausage curb on the in the last corner, so I could drag race him and beat him by, I think it was 19 thousandths. So it was quite nice.
Yeah, 19 thousandths of a second. If you came up short, that would have been very, very awkward, I am sure, for finishing not on P3 but in P4. Talk us through those battles though, because in the first half of the race, it was absolute madness kicking off in the race. Battles galore. I think you were getting involved in ones further down the field. You were in P12, I think, throughout that battle as well. But talk us through it, because it was just absolute chaos in the first 10 laps.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, me and my teammate Spicer, we chose to go into the mediums, just in case a safety car would come out. Because last time around in Australia it did happen, and the hard tires are just so much better than the mediums, which you can also see in the end. Like, I think Schumacher had, I don't know, probably 6 laps fresher mediums, and still I think the tire level was quite yeah, on the same level, so I could race with him and battle him. But yeah, on the first stint it was madness. I think it was kind of a strange effect because I think the top 7 or 8 were starting to fight quite intense, and then it all kicked down 2 later in the position where I was running. I think, yeah, as you said, I think in P12 or something like that. So yeah, some crazy battles. A lot of incidents happened. I think the reports will be quite full, I think. So yeah, I guess this results that we had showing on the game won't be the one in the end.
Some reports definitely going to be coming in then. That is the case, which should be really intriguing to see how that happens and how that transpires afterwards. Max, any questions?
Yeah. Again, another 2 from me here, but Daddlepad, of course, first congratulations on the podium. The first question ties into that. Were you expecting to get a podium after your DNF from qualifying?
First of all, thank you, and also thank you, James. Sorry. I definitely didn't expect anything today. I think this Austria race was my first Austria race since, I don't know, start of, or at least, I think the middle of the 2022 game. So it was quite interesting. And I didn't expect much because I don't really like this track. And in fact, that Quali Lab would have been quite okay for me personally. But yeah, I chose to do the same as Schumacher did in the last corner. So that didn't happen. But yeah, definitely didn't expect a podium in that race. So quite surprised and happy for it.
Yeah, well, that was a very good drive from 19th on the grid. We move to Belgium next week. You're third in the standings. Do you reckon you can give us another good performance in Belgium?
Ooh, I didn't know I was third. Did you
Yeah,
calculate it already?
I think Bobbits has already started working on the. It's either Bobbits or Harvey have already started working on the standings.
Ah, okay, perfect. Oh, I'm happy for that. Yeah, I think I just wanna constantly work myself up there. I think last time round was P6, if I'm correct. Which wasn't quite the result that was possible, but this time around I think I optimized it. And for Belgium, I'm a little bit more optimistic because it's quite a challenging track and it's easier um, to get some people out of the DRS if you have a pace advantage and stuff. So I think the field will be split up into many pieces. And yeah, it's also a track that not many people like, I think, on the game. So yeah, I think I'll have a great time in Spa. At least I hope so, if nothing happens. And yeah, I hope to improve on my position now, so either P2 or P1. But it might end up just being another top 10 finish or even a DNF. Everything can happen, and I think for the championship, it's just important to score points in every race. So I will be happy with anything.
Yeah, well, thank you, Daddlepad. But overall, if for your sake, hopefully we see you at least back on the podium next time out. But yeah, anything can happen. So congratulations on third place, enjoy it, and hopefully we see you back here in Belgium and maybe on that top spot.
I hope so as well. Talking to you is fun. Need to do that more often. Thank you very much, guys.
Very welcome indeed. And that is us rounding off for the evening. And I really hope you did enjoy that stream because it was absolute chaos up and down the field. Reminder, of course, of what's to come up. Obviously, with the announcement of PC Tier 1 being announced on social media, Sao Paulo round number 1 for the 4th of August. That is in a week's time on Sunday, and that is also on Super Sunday, I believe, for the Olympics. So that's going to be very interesting indeed. And also, of course, Console Tier 1 and the console tiers are going to be going live, of course, around Belgium next week, August 1st and 2nd. Those, of course, at 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. UK time. And also, the rest of the PC tiers are coming just before that as well on Monday. That is on July 29th. So they are going to be live, of course, on at Belgium on Monday, which is going to be really intriguing indeed. That rounds us off, I think, very neatly indeed. Max, final thoughts from you on that race and for what we've got to look forward to for the rest of Console Tier 2 going into Belgium.
Well, it was an absolute frantic race, probably a contender for race of the season. I know it's only early, but it could still certainly be a contender with how much action we just had in that race. It was constant moves being made lap after lap, and it was all most of it was very clean and very precise, very fair racing. So I really enjoyed most of the battles in that one. But yeah, I would say thank you all for tuning in again. Of course, I'll be here next week. Not too sure about James, but he certainly could be. And if so, very, very welcomed addition to the commentary box once again. But yeah, thank you all for the support. Me, at least at Tier 2, as a main commentator, I really appreciate you guys all tuning in and showing you what these drivers can do and maybe putting a bid together to get Tier 1 next season. So yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you all for watching and yeah, over to you, James, to send off.
Yeah, I think we will end it there, definitely. And of course, the opening ceremony's on, so I'm going to watch that as well. Thank you so much for watching, though. Big thank you to our sponsor, of course, Next Level Racing and Grid Fan. You can find us, by the way, on social media. World Online Racing F1 on TikTok, at WOR League on X or Twitter, and World Online Racing, of course, on YouTube, where you are viewing this very video. If you are just tuning in right now, the race has already ended. You can go and watch it back, though, in around about 30 seconds' time, because we're going to run the adverts and run everything off into the distance. Thank you so much for watching, though, tonight. And until next time, next week in Belgium, goodbye.